Welcome to the WorkingAudioTools podcast, the home of all things mixing and mastering. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing the pros of studio management, time management, and efficiency, workflow efficiency. Last episode, we touched on in-the-box mixing versus analog mixing, and there was lots to take away from that in terms of efficiency. But Paul, what's got you thinking about time management and efficiency this week?
The reason that I wanted to talk about it is because I'm not doing a very good job at it. I'm completely overwhelmed and I've bitten off way more than I can chew. So, long story short, I have 5 sessions on just now. And when I told Ed, he thought that it was like 5 continuous ones. It was like, do one, then finish that, move on to consecutive. Yeah, sorry. Mines are genuinely all at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm working on a song, then I'm getting somebody else in working on their song. So genuinely, I have 5 different songs, 5 different artists. Then we're building the song and we're finding out the way the production works, and it's all free as well, because that's a part of, my studio plan was to get my name out there, and it is working. I mean, there is one client from Glasgow. They've got somebody coming in with them who is a new prospective client, and he's like wanting to see how I work with his friend, so he might then pay me to do the next single. Or again, start working with him.
Result.
Yeah, great result. So again, it's worthwhile. But what I found is obviously having my full-time job, still having mix gigs coming in, having 5 sessions on the go, as well as the YouTube. Again, like I've went back to my main channel because I've got to do video reviews for things I've got. I've got this. I've also got the mix phones with Emra. I've got the Discord, which, to be fair, is easy, very easy to manage. Kind of manages itself, but yeah, it's a lot. And my wife got me a planner and we were like going into it daily. Then I got to a point where I was forgetting to go into the planner, and I looked into it today and I was like, fuck, I was meant to do that. Oh, I said I was meant to do that. I was meant to do that. And I've now got this big list of things and I'm getting to it. But yeah, I was sitting there today thinking, right, if I'm going to make this work as a full-time career, then there's going to be times I am immensely busy and I have crazy deadlines and I have to really manage my time and plan better. I think a lot of what I'm experiencing now is me being me, which is like flying off the seat of my pants. And if I'm not busy, then, I make myself busy. So what would you say, Ed? What have you found anything? I mean, this can go back to your live sound as well. I mean, how do you get to a point where you are managing your time?
There's 3 solutions to this that everyone should definitely take on board, which is to stop going to the gym, sleep less, and don't see your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's audio for you. That's what everybody says.
And that's it. Those are the 3 easiest things. I've been flat out with sound jobs and studio stuff in the last week or so, and I've got another 6 days before I have a day off, and I'm knackered already. And I'm seeing my girlfriend once in that time, and I haven't been to the gym. So yeah, that's where I've got to get into some management. What I feel at the moment is I'm all over the place with the studio move and live sounds just pulling me in different ends of the day. So it's hard to be consistent. For me, I work best with a routine.
Yeah.
If I can get up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every night, and have my morning routine and my evening calm down, cool down, slow down routine, then I sleep well, then I'm on form during the day. If that goes off kilter, for me, sleep is the biggest one. If bad sleep, lack of sleep is the biggest killer to my productivity. Doesn't matter how organized I am, my brain slows down. But also ADD, moving into this flat, like just moving around. I'm so bad at getting pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
I try and be efficient. Well, I'm in this part of the house, so now I'll take that washing over there. Ooh, I've just seen that I need to do that washing. I'll do that. Now I need to hoover that. Or, nothing gets done in a linear fashion in my life, except when I sit down and mix at the computer. So it's everything else around the actual job that is a distraction and pulls me in different directions. In terms of efficiencies, I have looked into CRM stuff with clients. So I have some templates for not auto replies. I'm definitely not using AI. There's a whole movement of people using AI for auto responding to emails and inquiries, and I think people can see through it. And I don't think people appreciate it at all. Because when I read it, I think, fuck off, you've not made any effort to speak to me. Don't care. You've lost me already. So I'd err on the side of caution if I were people on that. But I have templates that I use that I then personalize. So that is kind of in between. I looked into trying to get an auto command. So when I printed a mix, it automatically added it to an email template, and then I could upload, put in the email address and then load that. But that just became too complicated with the routing structure I have. Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm like, what have I put into place for time management? Where I excel is when I'm busy, I am more efficient somehow. Well, Parkinson's law, if you give a task a certain amount of time, you will use that whole time to fill it up. So if I have a day to, patch in the studio, or if I don't have a deadline. So I've given myself a deadline of the end of this month, which is basically this weekend coming. Actually, by the time this video's out, that deadline will have passed. That's my deadline. End of September was my deadline to get all this sorted out. End of October is my deadline to sell everything I don't need from the old studio and this studio. Without a deadline, I just meander and things will I'll just put it off. I can do that tomorrow. Might chip off work an hour earlier, or might be a bit slower about something. Might allow my OCD to get in on something, and I need to, cable tie those cables. No, you don't. Just get it done. Those are the big ones. Those little AD. I don't have ADHD, but I definitely have ADD.
Oh, I think no. Well, here's what's interesting, because my wife is like 100% sure she's got ADHD, and what you're talking about is ADHD. Where what you're doing is you're getting fuck that cable. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to get distracted by lots of little things. Where ADD, which is what I've got, and by the way, it's not made up. I genuinely, this part of my diagnosis of my autism. Like
I have not been diagnosed. I just know the behaviour.
Yeah. So
I think I do. Paul's about to tell me otherwise.
So like ADD is what I've got, is where I can focus on one task, but the problem is I can't focus on other tasks. So when I rabbit hole and hyperfocus, hyperfocus is a part of ADD, where genuinely, I've said it before on the podcast, where I could be in a house full of shit and the house is burning down, the kids are on the fucking roofs, and like there's like people at the door banging, and like I'm on my headphones just like completely oblivious, focused on one task. The amount of stuff that I can't see around me when I'm focused is ADD. What you're talking about is ADHD, where what you're doing is you can't really sit and focus on one thing at one time, because you're like, oh, that done, and I'm in that room. That's what my wife does. So when my wife does cleans in the house, we can't do lists. I'm structured. I'm like, give me a list and I'll work through it systematically. My wife's like, I can't do that, because I start a list and I'm be like, oh, but I see that, and if I'm in that room, then I need to do that, and that, because I'm in that area, and I do it there and then. I'm like, but why don't you just put it on a list and then go back to it?
That's exactly what I'm like. Okay. When I do have focus is when I'm on the computer.
Yeah.
That as long as, okay, the podcast is a great example of where I'm really bad for this. When I'm mixing, I have to throw my phone on the sofa at the back of the room, and it stays there and the world can get lost. Because if I don't have notifications on my phone at all, but if I have a moment of, a bit bored, give my ears a break, Instagram, fuck, you've doom scrolled for like 5 minutes. It's just, or the worst one for me, Instagram is probably the worst, the least efficient use of the biggest distraction, because I can go on and think, oh, Paul sent me a headphone EQ on Instagram, right, I'll go and find that message. You go on Instagram, you got 7 messages, you reply to all those, put the phone down and go back to mixing, like, oh yeah, headphone, right, back onto Instagram, see something that takes your attention, scroll a little bit. Fuck, I'm still trying to find Paul's message. Half an hour later, and I'm like, right, where's this bloody screenshot? Okay, Instagram is the devil for me. I really should delete it, but then I end up downloading it again, and that's where I really need to focus on.
So procrastination is actually a good thing probably to talk about. Because, see, for me, like, I'm the opposite. Where what happens is with me, I become so hyper-focused that when I'm mixing, I don't think of anything else. And you know me, I don't take breaks, I don't drink water. It gets to a point where, like, my wife can come in. There's been times my wife's came in and I'm in a completely dark, pitch black house. And she's like, how long have you been sitting in that fucking one space for? I'm like, And again, 4 hours. She's like, you've not moved in 4 hours.
What day is it?
I know, what day is it? Like, but what it shows is that everybody seems to have like these different forms of issues having time management. Some people do have ADHD, some people have ADD, or again, some people sit in the middle. I think everybody has a struggle, and I think that what I've been finding is that you've got to work around the way that your brain works. So it's funny because me and you are very different. So I don't have a problem with like not allowing stuff to distract me when I'm in something. But what I need to be able to do is actually step away from it and do something else, which is hard for me. So I could have, for example, 5 things to do in a day. If the one thing that I start on ends up taking too long and I can't get it to the standard that I want, I can't leave it alone. So what happens is I could plan out my whole day and be like 2 hours on that, 2 hours on that, 2 hours on that, blah, de blah. If I then take an hour on this next thing, then what I'm doing is I'm just genuinely taking time from other things. And then if my whole day goes like that, then what happens is I end up getting 3 things done instead of 5 things, because the first 3 things that I did took longer than they were meant to. And that's something that I'm trying to work at, where me and my wife have been talking a lot about trying to structure my time. And again, I've had this in counselling as well, where my counsellor's always saying to me, you've got to block time out, Paul, because when you get to a certain point of time, you get lost. So you need to sit there and honestly, I have a counsellor sitting there to me saying, if you know that can potentially lead you down a rabbit hole of an hour and you've only got 10 minutes, you cannot do that task. You have got to plan for a time where you have an hour to spare, and you've now got to look at every task and think, that should take 10 minutes, but it may take me an hour. And me being Paul Third, normally 6 times out of 10, it ends up taking the hour, sometimes even longer. When my wife phones me, she could say, right, honestly, I'll come back from work, go to the studio because there's something that I think I need to do. So for example, there's a piece of software that isn't working. So I've got to trial this thing that I can't talk about. And it's not working on Mac and it's not working on Windows. It should have just been an install it and that's it, it's done. Because I couldn't get it installed, I then was like rabbit holing how to fix it. I'm emailing, I'm trying to find folders, I'm going into stuff, and my wife's on the phone going, Paul, that's your tea ready, it's your tea ready. And there's times genuinely where like my wife will phone me, I'll be like, yeah, I'm just doing this. And then genuinely I come back and my tea is stone cold and I've got a pissed off wife. And you imagine that if you allow yourself to live your life like that with clients, where you've got maybe like 3 deadlines to meet in that day, if you cannot prioritize that time correctly, then you are not going to, me personally, I'm not going to make this work. So like now I've got all these sessions on my plate. I've got like guitar to add to that, bass to add to that. I've got to try and get drums on that. I've got to try and get this sorted on this. But what I'm doing is I'm like, it's almost in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it and I'll do them all at once. And my wife's like, no, Paul. See, when you finish work, look at that and say, right, is there something in one of those sessions that's a 10-minute job? Yeah. Right, okay, go to the studio and just do that one job, that one specific job, prioritize it. And if it doesn't take the 10 minutes, go back to it at another time. What do you feel about that, Ed? Like, I've probably just went on an absolute autistic rabbit.
Well, I would say travelling to the studio for 10 minutes isn't efficient in itself.
That's true, yeah.
But that's just me being pedantic. I think there are ways of managing this, and the book you need to read is The One Thing.
And I've got it. Oh, no, I thought it was another book you sent me that I've genuinely still never read. It was the other one you told me to read. I can't remember.
Level Up?
That was it. I've got it. I got
Level
it off.
Up by Rob Dial. Yeah, The One Thing as well. They're quite similar. Level Up feeds a lot off The One Thing. Things like, if you've got 5 tasks, start off with the easiest ones that are going to take you the shortest amount of time.
Right, okay.
So you then feel good, you're working your way through the list.
Yeah,
and if you know task number 5 is going to take you an indeterminate amount of time, at least then by the time you've got to it, you've done 4 of the things on that list.
Right.
And Parkinson's law will kick in and you'll think, I've got 3 hours to do this. I don't have 8 hours like I had at the start of the day. So you'll do it in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that first task will take you 8 hours, and then I'll just put the rest off to the next day.
Yeah.
So flip the priority round. Do the shortest ones first. Other things that are discussed in the book is having a timer. So
yeah, my counsellor said this to me. Yeah, I know.
I've thought about this in terms of giving your ears a rest as well. Normally I just feel like when I need to have a bit of a break, but kind of by that point I should have had a break already, really. But setting a timer, 15-minute intervals or 1 hour editing. So, do you know what I mean? And then stand up. Not just from a focus point of view, but just from a healthy point of view. What we do is very stationary. You've got to get up and move around. So I know people who set timers just to, every hour it'll be, right, this is your hourly call to get up, do 20 squats, 20 press ups, and, walk around the house and get a drink of water and press save. Things like that. Yeah, level up, and the one thing will really help you with stuff like this. They'll really help you focus on what you need to do, and also decipher how to prioritize what.
Yeah.
What to prioritize.
Yeah, because it's hard for me now, because the way that my brain works is I've got 5 sessions on the go right now, and to me they're all as important as each other. And it's like, because they're free, there's not really a time scale on it. So my wife was like, you've not got a time scale on it, but you should put a time scale on it, because me knowing you, what you'll do is you'll find
Exactly
a rabbit hole, and then and what you'll do is you'll stress yourself out. Somebody will message you, go, hi Paul, yeah, I'm just wondering when we're going to get to a point where we're maybe at the next stage. And then that's when your brain will kick in and go, I need to do it right now. And you'll hyper focus on it and you'll stress yourself out, when all you need to do is just block out time and give yourself time. And again, timers. But the thing is with me, right, I've genuinely tried timers. Timers don't really work for autistic people. Like, when you're in a fucking ADD hyper focus, and if I'm no done in that timer, honestly, I will throw that fucking timer in the bin. I'll go to the other end of the fucking room because I'm like, no, I'm not done. We are not done right now. Okay, we're not done. But it's things that I really do need to think about, because I cannot make this all work without proper time management. I cannot make this work without being in a place where, I can take heavy workloads and be able to meet all the time scales. And a lot of it's just looking at me and going, right, one, did I plan all of these sessions correctly? No. I was speaking to a producer today, and he was like, Paul, you bit off way more than you can chew. He went, you should have took at least just 2 sessions, Paul. You should have took 2 sessions, booked out time and you could work on them, and then, right, get one, and then another day do another, and then get those 2. He went, Paul, 5 at one time. He went, that's a lot. But then in my head I was thinking, yeah, but we had Liam McCluskey on, and Liam McCluskey's doing a song a day. But then Liam's talking about, yeah, I'm in at 8 o'clock, and then I'm sometimes like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm working all the way to 12 at night. We are working full on all day. I don't have that time right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how he does what he does, but I don't know how you do what you do, given how busy you are as well. Another way that can help is allocate times in the day for messaging and admin. And this is something I think Nick does, because you can message Nick and he'll reply like 4 days later.
Yeah.
And I think he often replies in his, he has allocated time in the week.
He does, yeah.
When he focuses on his business. And when we've spoken about business stuff, he's replying what seems to be either on a Monday morning or a Wednesday morning or something. One of the times I feel I was most efficient was when I was only checking emails and Instagram and messages at the start of the day, maybe just after lunch as well, and at the end of the day. And by the end of the day, I mean the end of the working day, like 6, 7, 8 o'clock, not 10 o'clock at night. Your phone should be down by then if you want to get any kind of sleep. DistroKid hosts a range of visually engaging social media promotion tools to help your release stand out from the crowd. Creative and colourful social media cards incorporate your artwork to help your release stand out. These are free to download and can be highly effective promoting your release. DistroKid also offer mini videos, which are free, short, customizable videos incorporating your artwork and a short clip of your track. And if this wasn't enough, DistroKid also have a tool to create a Spotify canvas generator, which is the video that plays in the background when you're playing a song on Spotify. Simply choose a theme and choose from dozens of different creative artwork concepts. These are free to use and great for engaging your audience, available on DistroKid. For an additional subscription of $8.25 a month, you can get your music videos distributed to Apple Music, Vivo, and Tidal, and you'll keep 100% of your royalties. With DistroVid from DistroKid. So
I'd say a bad trait of mine, I'd call it a habit, is that because I'm so glued to my phone, is that when like a YouTube comment comes in or when an email comes in, I need to do it there and then. And my wife's like, Paul, the amount of times I've watched you, like, know you've got to do something, and then you go, all right, okay, I'm just about to do this. He went, but see if you're in a mix, Paul, the world's gone. It's like when you're in the hyper focus, you're in it. But see if you're half in it, or there's something that you're not really that fucked about doing, admin stuff, or again creating a website, or like doing certain things that I'm like, I don't really want to be doing that. Mix revisions, I don't know why. Like, see, like when to start a mix, it's like, yeah, get started in a mix and blah blah blah. But like, see when the mix revision comes in, I don't know why. It could be 10 seconds. Just be like, I just need to put that up, bro. All right, okay, cool. I know in myself, I sit there and I go, yeah, I could do that at that time. When I'm like, oh, bro, it's going to take you fucking 10 seconds. Do it right now. It's for your client.
Shortest task first.
Yep, totally. And I think that for me, what I'm starting to realise is that I've always known it, and my counsellor says it to me, that you're your own worst enemy at times, Paulie, when the amount of pressure that you put on yourself and the amount of work that you put on yourself, and all you need is managed, Paul. It's like my wife says it all the time, it's like, Paul, if I could pay somebody to just be your admin, she's like, because I'm not doing it. It's stressful enough being your wife and having to control your life as a wife. I'm not doing it in your studio life. But I think that their priority is to come into a point of it. And I think you're absolutely right, Ed, that I think time management is most about actually setting yourself a deadline for every task that you do and making it manageable and looking at something and going, right, I need to do this and that and that. This is how long this should take, and that's going to be my deadline. And as you said, there's Parkinson's law. If you give yourself, and it is so true. And it's scary how true it is when there's days that I've had where, I'm like, my wife's going away somewhere with the kids and I've got the studio to myself all day, and I'm like, holy shit, I could get so much done. But you procrastinate and you're like, yeah, maybe I could do that as well. Maybe I'm going to do that twice. Maybe I'm going to double check that. Where if I just set myself a deadline, I'd get all the stuff done. But I think maybe it's the perfectionist in us sometimes, Ed, where perfectionism could be, an absolute killer for efficiency. Because at the end of the day, I could sit there and try and, perfect on something in a mix that it's annoying me and I want to leave it in a good place. Send it to the client and they're like, yeah, see that thing you did on the reverb? I hate it. Take it off. You could just, and Jason Joshua talked about it a lot in Mix with the Masters and stuff.
Perfection is baggage. I mean, the one time I tried to send a mix to someone with mistakes in, thinking, right, I'll leave it here because they're going to come back with feedback. They signed it off and I had to say, I've just had another listen. There's a couple of things I want to tweak, thinking, I left some things that were wrong in that on purpose and they didn't pick up on it. So that kind of backfired. Yeah. It's, for me, it depends on the task. For example, if I'm editing the podcast and I get bored listening back to us waffling shite, sorry guys listening, but thanks for coming back every week. I'll then go on, I'll check Instagram or something, and then I look at that, and then I've missed some ums and ahs, or like I'm talking and the camera's still on Paul, or something like that. If there's ever an edit anyone spots, it's because of that. And that's, or I'm doing multiple things, like I'm answering an email, listening in the background, because you can't speed up Final Cut, I don't think, when you're editing. It'd be amazing if you could put it on like 1.5 or double time. Can't do double time because that won't work with your accent, but 1.5 times on WhatsApp I can get away with. So if I could do that on video, that would help me streamline video editing, for example. But then when I'm doing that, I'm trying to upload to Acast, which is the software that distributes to all the streaming platforms. It doesn't auto-save. So if I upload it and don't press draft, we've had this so many times where I've just forgotten to do it because I've gone onto an email, I've gone onto something else, and then I've closed the window down and I've thought, I didn't press save once it's drafted. Things like that are really annoying. But that is ultimately me not focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
If I just sat there and let it upload and let it process and then press save, I wouldn't have to go back and do it again. But I don't. I go and look at other windows because I think in a way that that's also more efficient. So I'll answer an email and that'll ask me to be doing something else. So I'll have to go and send dates to someone, and then someone will ring me about sound jobs, and then I'm checking my calendar for that. And I'm doing all this, not really focusing on any one of those things properly.
Yeah.
And that's when mistakes happen for me. And I'm terrible for it.
Yeah, and I think that's really, why these discussions are great, because I think what it's shown is that there'll be people that are like me and there'll be people that are like you, and there are different ways to manage that.
Shudder the thought.
So for me, I think what I'm going to take from this conversation is that, one, I need to plan a lot better, and I need to really stop seeing myself like this superhuman fucking time monster that, yeah, it's almost like, just because you can take a lot of weight on your shoulders doesn't mean that you need to take it. And I need to be, very mindful that just because, I can take a lot of baggage and I can take a lot of stress, and again, I don't really burn out, I don't need to be pushing myself to those limits. And I just need to be, giving myself, breathing space. But as well as that, as planning, I think that, I need to be putting, it's probably part of planning as well. I think even for the sessions, I've just kind of realised there, genuinely in this conversation, that all the 5 sessions, I've not moved over to Studio One collaboration, which means that I could work on the sessions on any system. So really what I should be doing is just genuinely, after we finish this podcast, go in, just send them all. So send all the files onto the server. And then what that means is that when I'm, dinner breaks and I've got a bit of time or the house or something like that, I could pick up the laptop and I could be working on some of these sessions, because it could just be a thing where I need to put a kick drum in, I need to try a snare, I need to try a beat, I need to, there's something I can add quickly, and do that, or organise something. I think that's why I like working portably a lot, because it does give me the breathing space to be able to get a lot of stuff done. That's why I can get the podcast done, because, and again, Ed talks about routine, where everybody said that about me. When I get in a routine, I'm fucking unstoppable. Like when I was at Tops Tiles and Carpet Right, as a manager, you worked on my routine, and it worked really, really well. But what I've not really got a life right now that can really do a routine, because I'm not full time. If I was full time in audio, I would have a very, very set thing like Nicholas, where I would get up at a set time and I would see that I need to do that on that day and this and that, and it's quite difficult. But that doesn't mean to say that I can't structure my time, you know what I mean? And I can't change things that make my life easier and allow me to be more flexible, because what I need to be is more flexible. Like, I couldn't be just in the studio, because there's only certain things I can do in the studio, but I can do them elsewhere.
I don't know if you need to be more flexible. Just implement some little things every day that can help you prioritize. So in the morning, do you make notes on your phone? I've got a note that's an endless to-do list. If things aren't important, they go down.
List. Yeah, and it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what I do is, I pick one day. This is what I do. If you give me a list, there'll be one day where I just go fucking pure mental mode, and I just pure rattle them through. My wife's like, "How did you get so much? How is it I can fucking barely?"
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's efficient.
Yeah, but but to make this work as a profession, you need to be consistent. So that's fine that I could rattle loads of stuff in one day, but it's not consistent. There'll be days where I don't, and putting that much pressure on yourself isn't, because when I do that, I'm stressed. I could do it, but I'm stressed out of my box.
No need for stress. Okay, so how you can manage that is, again, what Nick talks about, right? Every Wednesday morning, for 4 hours, you only focus on business-related stuff. Editing reels together or screencasting or printing before and after audios. That's your 4 hour window. With that 4 hour window, if you've only done 3 reels for the next week, that's all the reels you're putting out.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the first part of that hour is scheduling the 3 reels you produced last week. And you're going to schedule those for this week, and then you're going to edit and create the next reels, or you're going to reply to whatever. Every morning, do half an hour on emails. That's it. Half an hour timer. Boom, gone. If you need to answer more emails, do what I was doing a few months back. Half an hour again at lunch, half an hour again at the end of the day, if you need that much time. Focus on, every morning, try writing a list of 5 things you need to achieve that day. Yeah, or 3 things. Don't write 10 things, because you're not going to do them. And the problem with trying to do 10 things and only doing 6 of them is you're going to end the day feeling disappointed and despondent and unhappy. So if you focus on 3 to 5 things, and you can get 3 things done, 5 things done. And if you've got more time, either chill out with your family or find something. That's when you can then go, all right, I've got an hour left. Right.
Yeah.
Let's rabbit hole dither. You know, you can pick something you want to go down, and maybe in your to-do list, split the tasks up into micro, macro, mixing, business, and then like studio day to day. In an ideal world for me, I would have everything itemized to like every hour. You know, I get up at 7 a.m., you know, 7:30 I meditate, 8 o'clock I go to the gym. In an ideal world, which I think you can kind of do because you've got the consistency of a full-time job. Your parameters for most of your day are set.
Oh yeah, I've
You've
only got a set time to do certain things.
You got tea time at 6:30. When you're a freelance musician or sound engineer, I might be on site at 6 a.m. one day next week, and then I might be getting home at 3 a.m. the following night. There's no consistency, and we have gig lag, which is a big thing. It's like Saturday, for example, I was in bed at 4 a.m. So last night I couldn't sleep till 1:30, 2 a.m. And there was no point trying, because when I've tried to get an early night on a Sunday, I get 2 hours sleep. My body thinks, "Oh, you've had a nap. Cool. Let's be awake till 6 a.m. And then I've ruined my week because I'm tired. So that's where I'm used to being quite flexible. But, you know, then if I get like today, I got up at 9 o'clock and I'm like, well, I've slept in an hour today. I've not. I've had 6 hours sleep because I had a late night last night as well at work. So that's where things get eaten at either side. But I could have slept 10 till 10. But I can't because I've got stuff to do, and I want to be as close to that getting up at 8 a.m. every day as I can every day of the week. So it's really difficult when you're in the events industry. So in an ideal world, I'd be doing what you're doing. You know, right, 10 o'clock, I'd do 4 hours mixing, half an hour for lunch, 2:30, do 4 hours mixing, 6:30, go for a walk. I would be in my element if I could structure life like that.
I think structure is the main key word to take away from this, isn't it? Especially for me, like I need structure, and it's almost like I'm not allowing my life to have the structure where it can have the structure. I just think that my personality kind of hasn't been allowing it, and I need to be so much more forceful because I don't want to burn out, Ed. I've been close to burnout a few times, and so have you as well. But, you know, I don't want to get to that point. And I know that the thing is, my wife says all the time, she's like, Paul, imagine you do get to a point where you're full-time in audio, Paul. Your brain will be like, what the fuck? I've got all this time. And she went, Paul, I'm really scared for you when that happens, because you somehow manage to do, you structure mix phones. So we structure, this podcast. We structure this podcast like a boss. I know exactly when I edit it. We know Ed knows exactly when he edits it. I know when I do my thumbnails, when he's going to upload it. Like, we are on a proper schedule. And that's why me and him are like on autopilot. We don't even think about or worry about the podcast. Fuck, Ed, what was this going to be? 3 episodes now? We're going to be in front where we are right now?
Yeah, we're actually doing well. We're way ahead because we're streamlining, and we've done a couple of weeks where we've done 2 episodes. But we've had to out of necessity, because there's times when you're away and when I'm away. And necessity is facilitating economy, streamlining.
But if you think about the podcast, we genuinely only have that sliver of time every week, but we do it because that's only the sliver of time that we do. So I think structure, where you can structure your time, is the most important. Set deadlines, if alarms and shit work for you, doesn't work for me, but find a way of being able to just limit your time and have everything's got to be manageable, a manageable time scale. So please let us know down below what you have, put in place to help you become more efficient, manage your time better, manage the procrastination, manage the distractions, and manage a busy life in audio to the point where you could be maybe doing 2-3 mixes a day. How do you get around that? I know many people have assistants and other people to do certain other aspects of life for them. We're not in that position, but it'd be interesting to hear how everybody manages to get around the busy slog of audio.
The thing is as well, Paul, you're always going to have to be flexible to some extent, because you might have, for me, where my flexibility changes is I'll be like, right, I've got a YouTube video to do today, and then someone will send a mix, and it's like, no, YouTube can fuck off.
Yeah.
Mix takes priority.
Yeah.
There are things where, or there might be a revision. Cool, I'm going to do that first before I do anything else today. because I know that the rest of my day might take way longer. DistroKid sponsors the Working Audio Tools podcast, and 30% off your first year subscription can be found in the podcast show notes and the YouTube video description. Hyperfollow is the easiest way to place all of your content in one single place, making finding all of your content super easy for your audience. Upload artwork for your release, edit the information, and apply links to all of the streaming platforms your music is going to be available, which of course on DistroKid is potentially all of them that exist now and even in the future. Add social media buttons so your audience can find you and your latest music video. Creating a beautiful landing page with a preview of your music is easy with Hyperfollow. Hyperfollow links can be created for all of your releases, and it enables you to create pre-save links for your audience to pre-order your music before it's released. This link is shareable on all of your platforms and a great way to promote your next release, only with DistroKid. And if you're looking for more answers to this time management question, I strongly recommend checking out Chris Graham's old podcast, The Six Figure Home Studio, because they go into this in depth and how to run a business well, how to run it efficiently. And there's so many ideas. Their podcast is so well structured. They bullet point every episode. You know how we just waffle?
Yeah, we
like
do.
this.
Just fucking see it with our
They
pants.
bullet point everything, and it's a very factually dense podcast with loads of great professional tips, kind of like Nick's mailing list. Shameless plug. It's a really useful resource. If you haven't checked it out, I would strongly recommend people check out the Six Figure Home Studio podcast. And if you don't know Chris Graham, he's just a dude. So
Yeah, we've had him on this podcast,
yeah.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, as always, these conversations are good because they act as accountability conversations, and, you know, this will now then make me try and put certain things into place where hopefully, you know, in maybe 3-4 months' time, maybe at the end of the year, we could maybe come back to it and maybe hopefully No, I'm not even saying hopefully. I am going to be in a better place because that's the way you've got to think. That's the way I always achieve things in my life. It is going to get better because I'm going to make it better because I'm the only person that can make it better. And you're the only person that can make it better for you. So yeah, all good vibes, and we'll just fucking make it work. We'll just make it work.
And you end on a very good point there, the accountability side of it. If you're someone who is, oh, why is this happening? If you're going through life as a victim, that won't change.
Correct.
Your scheduling won't change. But if you're accountable, I think with everything in life, as we discussed with Xylo
Yeah.
a few weeks back, let's all be accountable for our own behavior and how we make others feel.
Correct. So yeah, another emotional episode as always, Ed. Yep. God, there's just so much more that I've got to think about. But you know, that is what you need to do. We're all adults in this never-ending shit show, and yeah, we've all got to make it work, and I will make it work, as will he make it work, and yeah, hopefully you make it work as well. So if you're struggling, again, feel free, leave a comment down below, you know, and again, everybody try and help each other out wherever possible. That's what we need to do as a community, as we all are trying to make this audio thing work as, you know, full-time career. So yep, my name's Paul Third, that's Ed Thorne, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye.